Well, hello and welcome. ECG privatization battle is what's on the table. Indeed, who has the right to protect public property? That's a very, very delicate matter. And we're going to try that within the next hour, we find out what locals do you have sitting at home. If you're walking past a government entity or if you chance across something that's not going right, which is a public property, where do you come from or how do you protect it? That's not as easy as it sounds. We would have a lawyer and an expert in the area to also join the conversation and talk about this thing. My name is Nanansa Kwal the Fourth, Akwamu Edumasahene, and also your host. When I come back, I'll tell you something and then I'll introduce my guest. Well, thank you very much for staying. And today I am probably one of the proudest kings in Ghana. Why? Because my children in Edumasa will eventually be representing Spelling Bee for the Eastern region. And today we had our finals. And, out of, I think, 25 children, they spelled and they battled and the best 3 came out. And indeed, Edumasa Presby Primary, one little rural town, these are my best 3 spellers, came out the best, and they will be representing the Eastern region in Accra come February. And I thought, you know what, very, very well done to my children. I want to say thank you very much to Howard Ansua, who organized Spelling Bee to come there. I want to say thank you very much to Jolly Phonics, who taught the kids how to spell, and all my teachers who've been very, very passionate and helped this dream come through. So as I said here, I'm a father of Jollyphonic Spelling Bee children who will be representing Eastern region. Now that is my pride today. So today I'm full of smiles. But there's a bigger issue in the studio to talk about. I have my brother in the studio, Sakasalia. You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So today I've been a very proud
yes, I'm also proud of you for being proud of your children.
Today I'm a very, very proud chief, sitting there watching them going through this spelling and words and going through, and they were eliminating. And when they kicked them out, they're crying. Oh my God. But best 3 came out, and it was a beautiful day for me today.
Oh, that's good.
But we're looking at the privatization of ECG has been on the table. First, they said it was going to happen. Then they said it won't happen. Then they said it will happen. And then we realized that it is tagged to a grant that's coming, so part of it has to go. But then you uncover something which you think is fishy, so you send it to court. Break it down for myself and the viewers, what it is you find irregular that you send to court.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening to our cherished viewers. First of all, I did not just sit down and decided to go into every single government decision that it's go into. It is of most interest, especially with the ECG, that I decided that I have to go into that particular issue, because ECG, we all know, is an entity that gives us not less than 1.3 billion a year. ECG is of enormous importance to the people of this country. It's second only to Ghana Revenue Authority in terms of raking of revenue. And therefore, when decisions about ECG crop up, it's of interest, it will be of interest to every keen observer. And that was the reason why I decided to probe into the matter. Now, I developed that interest, and going into it, I found things very curious, to the extent that it borders on criminality, it borders on fraud, it borders on all that is sordid. And therefore, I had no any option. And the only irresistible option was to go to court. One, what happened? I mean, we have situations where IFC, that is the transaction advisor to MIDA. MIDA is, the entity that is putting the whole thing, that is advising government and putting the whole thing together. And they in turn had IFC, that is the transaction advisor. Then MIDA and IFC, as part of their initial survey, when they brought the US corp, they found out that ECG is a very profitable venture, and that if they go into it, it will give whoever that they are bringing as concessionaire a lot of profit. And they use that as a bait to, as it were, bring concessionaires. And one of the baits they used was that it's so profitable to the extent that they themselves, not mindful of our laws, decided to do what we call draft tariff methodology. The draft tariff methodology was in clear contravention with our laws. The only entity that has been given the right to formulate tariff methodology and give prices of tariffs and all that is the PURC by Article 538, 1987. They are the only body mandated to do that. But because MIDA and IFC were in a haste to convince somebody to come and take over, they themselves took that upon themselves and did tariff methodology. When they did that tariff methodology, then they embossed.
You're being quite specific and quite direct. Are you alleging or you?
No. I have presented all this thing in court. We have documents to all this, to the effect. They did their own tariff methodology. But what is more criminal is that they use the logo of PURC as if it was coming from PURC. And PURC got to know about it and was furious that their work is being, they are usurpating their job. And that what they were doing is criminal and it was in direct contravention with our laws. And that their powers are being usurped and all that.
Did they write
to
MIDA?
To that effect. They wrote, and I have a copy of what they wrote. The same way, Energy Commission, they are also the only entity by Act 541 that mandate them to give licenses, to people who operate within the energy sector. They give licenses to them. These people, did another licensing document fraudulently, and they embossed Energy Commission logo on it. Energy Commission had no knowledge of what they did. And therefore, when Energy Commission got to know about that, they also wrote to them that what they were doing was illegal and therefore should resist from it. I chanced upon all these letters. I wrote to PURC, I wrote to Energy Commission. I asked them, these are the letters I've chanced upon. Are you aware of this? And what remedies have you taken? Have they corrected what you've written to them to do? They kept quiet. They never answered me for more than 2 months. And I decided to take the matter to court. Besides that, I also found that the whole deal was not in the best interest of this country, to the extent that IFC had interest in all the shortlisted companies. They had interest in one way or the other with all the 6 shortlisted companies. So that is clearly conflict of interest. Apart from that, if you look at the terms and conditions, if you look at Article 7.1 in the agreement, they say that the agreement should supersede all every law of this country. The laws of this country, our constitution, should be subservient to the agreement. And therefore, it means that whatever laws that we have should play second fiddle. These are some of the reasons. I've taken it. I've took it to court, praying the court that these are the findings I have come across. These are the documents to that effect, and that it borders on criminality. It borders on fraud and all that. They were circulating these documents around and all that. And that if these people do not withdraw the circulation, whatever that goes in to form the agreement should be declared null and void. Because in the first place, it borders on fraud, and fraud vitiates contracts. And that these entities that come to this country pretending to be doing that in the interest of this country are rather in disguise, serving their own interests, trying to circumvent the laws of this country for the interest of some other jurisdictions and all that. This is what I went to court to pray the court to do. However, instead of going into the substantive matter to argue the nuances of the case, MIDA, a legal team out of the three decided to go for preliminary legal objection on the basis of capacity. They say I do not have local standard, and that because of that, they should throw the case away.
So they didn't even look at the merits of the case?
The merit of the case has not been gone into. And the fact of the matter is that my team, my legal team actually proved in court, they argued the case that I am clothed with Article 41 that enjoins the individual to take action when public property is being dissipated. So and there are precedents to that. We have a case of the Richard Nyama versus the Attorney General when he took government to court because they reneged on paying get fund into as statutory payments, because get fund by natural consequence must be paid because it's deducted from VAT.
But you were interfering with the contract, and you're not party to contract.
I'm not party to what? To
the contract between ECG and the guys who are going to, have a share in the privatization bit.
Yeah, I am part. I am part as a citizen. Whatever the consequence of their action will affect me. Whatever that they do, if it's beneficial, it will affect me. If it is, if they should change the people of this country, I'm part of the people of this country. That is the reason why I say that. I'm clothed with Article 41 that enjoins the individual citizen to take action to protect and preserve public property. And we have, the examples, the authorities abound. The judge herself actually mentioned some of these things. Professor Ajiman Badu Akosa had a similar case where there was a challenge.
So what was so technical about your position?
I don't see anything technical about it. I think that the powers that be and the presiding judge decided to do what they want to do. If not, once there were precedents, that even shows that if a public, if there is, because I am a public benefactor.
No, but you know that apart from the Supreme Court, no precedent is law. So that if another high court said that, yes, Nana, you can come and sue for this privatization deal, High Court B can say, no, get out of my court, I don't think you have locus. Unless the precedent comes from the Supreme Court, you won't be able to argue.
Yeah, that is the case, because I'm seeing that in the law court, in the High Court, we have situation of Richard Nyama on the get fund issue. We have the others. But you see, the Supreme Court precedent exists. The Abu Ramadan case, for instance, he took the EC to court because the EC did not do certain things right. Because he was a citizen and clothed with that power, he went to court, and that is the Supreme Court, and that was precedent. Martin Amidu, is retrieving the money from Wyoming on this same basis as a citizen of this country. He never had any personal benefit. He was not part of the Wyoming contract.
Could it be that if they allow you to sue, I can also then go and say, well, I am suing because I want this, I think the deal is favorable, and so I'm a citizen of Ghana, so I'm coming to sue. Then somebody else comes and says, well, no, I think I don't like clause B in the contract, so I'm also going to sue. So it will be a floodgate of suits if it's granted.
Well, I mean, that is the reason why I say that this is not as if I'm a busybody. I'm a public benefactor. And the nuances, the substance of the case itself. I mean, one authority says that if the case becomes a public interest case, if the substantive issue itself, at the end of the day, can inure to the benefit of the public, you should not use technicalities to throw out such cases. You have to look at the merit of the case and all that before even you think about technicalities. And if we are talking of technicalities, like I've told you already, I mean, my counsel actually proved beyond every reasonable doubt that I'm clothed with Article 41 of the Constitution. And he cited so many authorities to prove his point and all that. So, but the judge, I mean, also brought other authorities and decided that, and even brought those that were for me, and decided that based on this, I agree with the Australian, a precedent. And that was it. That was the judgment. She cited all cases, the cases that she wanted. And at the end of the day, she chose one, the one that she wants. But I think that it was too simplistic to do that.
You can send your messages and follow me on Twitter at Nana Ansakwa. So Nana is your usual Nana, and then NASAHKWAO at Nana Ansakwa. Send your messages or your comments, and I'll read it. But I want to go to the phone and speak to Dr. Ishmael Aka, Head of Policy at ASEP. Now, when it comes to ECG, I know ASEP, who does a lot of, they do all their energy policy and the analysis. What's their position on this matter? Dr. Ishmael Aka, you're welcome. Hello, Doctor.
Yeah, Nana, thank you very much.
Very good. Doctor, I'm here with Sakasalia, who went to court, and there were certain aspects of this contract that he wasn't happy. One thing he said that sent a shiver down my bone is that there's a clause in the contract that says this contract sort of supersedes national laws, so that if they woke up one morning and decided to do something which contravenes Ghanaian law, we can't go back and say, oh, you're breaking the law in this country. I mean, I find it very hard that something like that will slip through. Have you chanced on the contract? Does it say anything like that? And what's ASEP's position in terms of privatization of the ECG?
Well, Nana, thank you very much. In terms of our position, we believe that ECG needs to be reformed. I mean, last year, 2015, distributing losses was about 32%. Ghana about $272 million. We've been changing managing directors. In fact, in 2009 and 2015, about 5 of them. Most of the time, they come and act. ECG's own inefficiency and so many other things. When you look at the power sector, there's a total debt of about 19 billion cedis. Now, if nothing is done about this, what we mean is that a time will come, ECG will buy power from. In fact, now they buy power from DRA and they cannot pay. For that matter, DRA cannot also pay Gas. DRA cannot pay Ghana Gas. So if Ghana Gas were to be a private company, by this time, they would have cut gas supply to ECG. So ECG needs to be reformed, and that is ASEP's position. But the reform can be done in four main ways. One, either the government pay how much it owes ECG, then appoint some competent people, give them about 5 years. That for the next 5 years, we have to reduce distribution losses to pay this profit, do this. And if they don't do it, probably we pay them. Or we can list ECG on Ghana Stock Exchange. One, it will promote the corporate transparency and corporate governance. And two, it can also bring in some kind of money so that ECG can use it to do investment and pay their debt. The third option is the concession, where the government chose, where we bring in a private person, they invest in ECG for a period of time. After that time, they hand ECG over to the government. Then the final one is the total privatization. We believe that any of these options will have their consequences. But in order to take option A or B, there were certain things we should have done. One of them was for the government to pay all its debt before this decision, so that ECG will be in a very stable position. And two, we have to strengthen PURC so that when they give an order, even our current ECG, there are instances January 26 this year and May this year, they gave order and ECG did not comply with. How much more a new ECG that is pumping about $200 million into their operation? So some of these basic things should be addressed before we go forward. As regards to the contract, whether there's a law or a provision that it supersedes what the case in Ghana, but I have no chance on that. I'll go and look at it again. But I think that per our law, PURC have that mandate to regulate the power sector. So whoever is coming, whether in the distribution or whether in generation or where, should be under the PURC. And I think that we need to strengthen them to play that role well. If not, the time will come, the consumer may suffer some of these decisions we are taking now.
This may be out of your league, but let me pick up your brain. But can somebody then go to court and say, "Look, I am just not happy with these dealings," and therefore, strike it out of court?
Hello, Nana?
I mean, can a private citizen go to court and say, "Look, I'm not happy with the dealings going on between this, with regards to the privatization," and therefore maybe ask the court to tell them to hold back and go and review it? I mean, are we allowed to do that?
Nana, please come again.
I'm asking if a private citizen can go to court and ask the court or complain to the court that I'm not happy with the dealings going on between PURC or between the new concessionaires and ECG, and therefore put a little stay on it.
Well, for me, I think that the private person has more like the right to go to court. At the end of the day, whatever decision we are taking, whether concession or privatization or anything, it is the consumer who will bear the effect of that decision. So if you take a decision, and at the end of the day, when you take, for example, Uganda, they did a similar concession for many years. And almost for the first 3 years, almost every time there were power increments and all that, power price increments. So if there's this tariff adjustment upwards and all those things, it is the consumer who will suffer. If they come in and they are doing so better, but efficiency is so high, and for that matter, maybe even prices are going down, it is the consumer who will enjoy. So I will sit down, do my analysis, and see that, yes, these things may affect us or even contravene the laws we have. And I think the consumer has the right to go to court to challenge some of these decisions. So we have even customer service codes, we have so many other technical standards the Energy Commission has developed. And based on some of these standards, most of them are legislative instruments. If you read the contract, and you see that some of the provisions contravene what these LI and other laws provide, I think that everybody has the right to go to court to challenge some of these decisions.
Okay, Doc, hold on for me just 1 second. Hold on just 1 second. Brother.
Yes,
no, I'm coming to the studio to speak to Sakasalia, and he's the gentleman indeed who took the case to court. I'm listening to Doc, and I'm trying to weigh your aspect. Do you think maybe you should give this a chance and see if it goes ahead and it falls foul, then you can cry foul, because it's like you're crying foul before the foul?
Well, that is what somebody will say. One school of thought will say. But you see, we have had experiences in the past. You talk about Uganda and other places. We talk about even Malaysia, And for instance, Tor was supposed to be given to Saudi Petrol. And I, once again, got up with my team. And we said that, no, Tor is a national asset that can be very viable. We can actually, bring it up from its comatose state if we focus our... Because, look, the Saudi Petrol that we wanted to give it to had gone to Malaysia. They had owed the Malaysian government over $1 billion. And then in their parliament, they were asking them where would they get money to come and pay them. Because they are going into some oil deal with them at the Caspian, island and all that, and we're not getting money. The good people of Malaysia actually asked them, where are they going to get money? They said that there is a company they are coming to take over in Ghana called Tor, and that within 1 year they will get the 1 billion. And on that basis, we said that no, if they can rake $1 billion out of Tor, why can't we also do it ourselves so that the $1 billion will remain in Ghana? In the same vein, they are saying that, oh, it's concession. We are just, the electricity company is just, part of it is just given for management. It is not true. If you look at the cabinet memo, it's virtually giving it out for 25 good years. And they are saying that all movable assets of ECG should be given to the concessionaire. And at the same time, all immovable assets should be given to them except the training school and then the headquarters. For 25 years, you are giving almost all the assets of ECG to a private hand for 25 good years. And you think that is not, selling it out, it is management. But what sort of management is this?
And they're taking a percentage, are they taking it fully? I think they're taking a percentage.
They are taking fully. They're taking it fully. They are only going to give Ghana government $500 million. And the whole thing is shrouded in secrecy. There are certain things that are not clear to the good people of the. And for instance, I mean the workers. How are the fate of the workers going to be handled? They say that for the first 5 years, nothing will happen. But afterwards, what will happen and all that? And we are talking about employment and all that. And then you are taking employment out of the people.
I don't know their situation, but what if they are overstaffed? And I say that with regards to the Ghana Telecom, Vodafone bought you over, probably laid off 2/3 of the workers. They are making more money now, more efficient now with much smaller work base. Could that be the problem where because my brother hasn't got a job, come in? I mean, once upon a time, Ghana Airways had one plane and like 4,000 workers.
Yeah, you see, my point is not too much on whether the workers will be laid off for efficiency or whatever. But the fact of the matter is that if you look at in the long run, what will happen? How will the consumer feel? Because these are people who are coming to take it for a profit motive. Everything that they do will be about profits. They will not do it. Because, for instance, the ECG as it is today, if you look at the terms and conditions that they are bringing the concessionaire, they say the concessionaire should be able to invest 50 million a year. And ECG, as we are talking currently, they invest over 200 million a year. So if somebody, ECG, if you look at even the whole assets of ECG, I mean the value of ECG is over 1 billion, is over 3 billion, 4 billion rather. A company that is over $4 billion, you are giving it to a concessionaire that should be worth 400 million. 400 million, because the investment ECG does today is more than what the concessionaire is coming to do. So the only thing left
is 50 million. It's probably the minimum.
Yeah, 50 million for
at
the
least
next for 3 years. That according to the agreement, you get the point. But ECG is already investing 200 million a year. So ECG is by far richer than the concessionaire that is coming to take over. I agree with Dr. when he said that ECG need restructuring. We all agree that ECG as it is now need restructuring. We need to put things in place and ensure management and all that. But the answer is not in giving it out as a concession. You get it?
Are we not falling in the trap where we are so scared, we want to hang on to everything, and that the world has moved to the stage where government shouldn't own everything wholly, give back to people, and in Ghana or in Africa, private people seem to make their businesses more profitable than government does.
I mean, you see, if you go, the U.S. government that is trumpet, that has put the apron string of or based on the Millennium Challenge account. If you go there, they would never give their power to a private hand. Now, apart from even the security aspect, we are saying that this is public monopoly. This is public monopoly. Now you want to give it out as a private monopoly. The private person do not have competition, unlike the Vodafone type, where we gave 70% out, and then because we wanted a company that can compete with the rest of the telecommunication companies. This particular one, there's no monopoly anywhere. The private sector will take it, so there will not be any difference.
Let me bring Doctor in here, Dr. Ishmael Aka. Doc. Doc, this, was a public monopoly now. We're probably complaining now it's going to be a private monopoly. I mean, I'm sure, Doc, you've lived in the UK. You've been south and it's southern electricity. You go somewhere, it's Virgin Electricity, it's British Electricity. I mean, there are companies who supply electricity, not necessarily from the government. I mean, is this so frightening if indeed a private person is going to give you the electricity rather than Ghana government directly?
Well, at the end of the day, I think what consumers want is reliable power at affordable prices. Whether the public can provide that or the private man can provide that, I think it's not the case. But private monopoly becomes very dangerous when you have a very weak regulator. And in this case, I've given instances where our PUR says, no, there was this issue. There was this issue with, what's the name, the billing system, and so many other instances where they ordered ECG and ECG did not even comply with. So that is what people start to panic, that even the public monopoly, you're finding it difficult to control, how much more the private. So that is why I'm saying that if we are bent on going for concession, for me, which is not bad anyway, we can make it right. But for instance, strengthening our regulator and making sure that at least we get as much as public input. I think the man there is making very nice arguments. So creating the platform for some of these arguments to be made and taking them as part of the negotiation. Workers are also complaining about subsidy and so many other things. So I think since we don't have so many companies competing and supplying, now we have only about 3 distributors or so of them supplying selected customers. ECG and NECO are our major, more like distributors. So giving it to the private person, for me, it can bring inefficiency down. It can reduce inefficiency. And even if we manage things where that gain can be transmitted to customers in terms of lower tariffs. But again, they can also try to withhold that gain as more like super profit, a normal profit. So it all depends on the kind of regulator we have and making sure that at least we have the basics right. If you have a car with a flat tire, as the ECG is now, and you want to sell it on ton, you command a very low value. But if you put it in a very better condition, you try other options, for instance, management contracts, and so many other ones, and it's not working. Then you say, let me go the next level, either concession or listing on Ghana Stock Exchange. At that time, ECG's condition would have been stable. The debt would have been reduced, inefficiency reduced, and so many other things. But as at now, I think we still need to put certain basic things into place before we go for the concession.
Well, Doctor, thank you very much for that insight. Thank you very much. I'm going to take a quick break, and then when I come back, the conversation continues. Hopefully, we can get a lawyer to come and explain to us that as a citizen, at which point are you able to stand up to protect, and at which point are you not able to? Don't move. Thank you very much for staying this very delicate issue. We're looking at ECG privatization battle, and we just want to find out at what point does a citizen stand up and say, look, I'm defending something that belongs to the state? Because Article 41, which most of us are quite silent about it, really enjoins us to stand up when we see something wrong going on in the country. On the phone now joining me is lawyer Yao Pong, who's going to probably take us through the legalese on it to find out why it is that Sakasalia cannot go to court and say, no, I'm not happy with this deal. There are a couple of things going wrong, and, Mr. Court or Mrs. Court, look through it for me. Lawyer Pong, you're welcome.
Thank you, my chief.
Thank you very much. And I'm a bit confused. At one point, the Constitution says that, look, you have to stand up and fight. At the other point, they say, look, it's a contract between two parties. You're not part of it, so, stick your nose out. What then happens? I mean, in Sakasalia's case, he's gone to court to say, look, I've seen things which went wrong before this contract, and therefore, hold on, let's look at it again. Court says, no, you have no locus.
Well, thank you very much. Personally, this is not the first time that this particular matter or aspect of this matter has gone to court. As we're talking right now, and I think I'm very right, that Professor Juma Bedua Kosa and some of his friends are in court in the Human Rights Court with a similar suit. In that same case, similar arguments were made. Everybody say electoral commission, but the electricity commission, which is a party, a third defendant, made the same argument that, look, the good old Prof and his friends don't have capacity to demand and also to hold accountable the government. If the government wants to either ensure, in their view, competence and efficiency, to offload some of the interests of the state to others, the so-called PPP, the citizen of Ghana has no right to question the wisdom and the prudence of that decision of the president or the managers of the electricity company. But the Human Rights Court tells otherwise and says that no, a citizen of Ghana is entitled as a beneficiary to question or hold accountable trustees, which is what the president is when it comes to the assets of the state, and which is what the managers of the electricity company are when it comes to the management of that strategic asset. So, well, unfortunately, the system we run at the courts is that we have only one high court. And even though we may have divisions, even though we may have different judges sitting in different high rooms, designated high court, the decision of one high court judge generally does not bind another high court or another high court judge. So, well, I haven't seen the decision in this case, but at least I have the one that in before the Human Rights Tribunal, that is your point, who dismissed similar application to set aside the root or to dismiss the case and said that as citizens of the Republic of Ghana, they are entitled to bring a case like this.
Lawyer, let me come in here and position yourself well while I come in here.
Okay.
Oh, that's better. There are certain aspects of this contract that Sakasalia is really not happy about, and that's why he's going to court. What if I read, section, 3A, and I'm not happy about it? You read 7B, you're not happy about it. You're forcing my director read 1A, he's not happy about it. Can we all then go to court saying, look, I'm not happy about this clause, call the case back, call the case back? Won't it be a floodgate?
Well, if in the first place, before a gate is constructed to prevent a flood to go out there and to erode, there must have been a decision why there should be a dam in the first place, and that dam should be closed. But once other things other than the water which should be in the dam really are able to find themselves into the dam, then you open it like the Bagri Dam. Don't you open the Bagri Dam from Burkina Faso and it comes down here to flood Ghana, and we also not being prepared, or with all due respect, not prudent enough to also construct a place where we can store the dam. We cry and lament only to go through the same experience next year. So floodgate or not, it depends on what caused the gate at the point where the dam or the flood is stored to be open. So the point is, if all of us as beneficiaries are jointly or severally think that the management of particular state resources of which we are beneficiaries and of which we have a right and Article 41 to endure. In fact, the word used, which is really endearing to me, is to combat and to prevent wastage. And if we are told that we don't have the right to, as citizens of Ghana, whose resources are entrusted in the care or vested in the hands of others to manage for us, it really flies in the face of all the well-known principles of trust, except that some people will conjure some other concepts about trust in the high sense and trust in the low sense. The bottom line is that it is trust, and the people of Ghana, at least under Article 41, are entitled to question the managers of these rights, and they can only do so appropriately, and I insist on that, in a court of law. So if for nothing at all, the person should be entertained. Then you look into the substance and determine that in view of the substance, probably the person doesn't have a case. But just to throw the person out, as even the electricity company tried to do before Justice Yeboah, I think that proposition will not cut us.
Lawyer, thank you very much for that insight. Thank you for that insight. Oh, that's a tough one.
Yes.
So do you give up, or look, I'm going to try code B, because, I mean...
Yeah, with the enormous interest being expressed by Ghanaians, and the fact that I'm not a type that play the aloof neutrality, I would want to fight this case to its logical conclusion. I would not leave any stone unturned until we get to the bottom of this.
So what are you hoping to achieve? Just to have the contract looked at again?
Yeah, not just that. To have the contract declared null and void, and eventually to stop the concession from happening, because a solid contract that should not be allowed to stand. The people, in this case, the players, IFC, MIDA,
why did PRC pull out? Because one time they're now upset that, look, MIDA is using their name without informing them. They're upset. Why have they suddenly pulled up and said, look, we're okay with that?
That is the problem, because if you look at, because we've written to them, they never responded until in court when they started responding to us, and backdating their letters. And now, even their defense, in their defense that we have, they actually admitted that such a thing happened, such criminality did happen, but they preyed on them to change what they did. But there's no evidence to that effect, that indeed MIDA and IFC actually heeded to the advice of IFC. And we are saying that insofar as that illegality persists within the arrangement, it should not be allowed to stand. And therefore it must be declared null and void. I'm saying that I have been in talk with my lawyers, and the indication is that we have every chance to, win this case at the appeal. And we must, as it is now, go there and then see what happens. Because, like lawyer Opon just said, that's the right guaranteed by our constitution to the individual, that you have to protect and defend properties of the state. And if it's just sit down aloof and not take action when, properties are being dissipated, then we are not good citizens. And in furtherance of that article, myself and my team, decided that we will go to the full hawk of this matter, even if it's at the Supreme Court, because I am clothed with the jurisdiction. And for somebody to say that I do not have jurisdiction, and because of that, the baby should be thrown with the water should be thrown with the bathing water, when there are other precedents that shows that we have jurisdiction.
In court, apart from them determining whether you have locals or not, Did they even ask you to find out what it is you're bringing to the court?
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons was that I don't know. I mean, there's no any cause of action, and that the matter was abuse of the courts and all that. You see, one leads to the other. First of all, if you don't have a locus, and that you don't have cause of action, there was nothing. No, it was mute. Like your case was mute. It has no any point. Then of course it will lead to your being there as vexatious and all that. But all these things, the judge did not go into that. The judge never said that it was vexatious. He only quoted authorities elsewhere that debar an individual from pressing home his constitutional orders, and that she agreed with a particular one, and that was the end of the matter. I'm saying that there are other authorities that also says that technicalities in itself should not be the basis to throw away cases that have substance when the merits are gone into.
So Sally, I hope that you have the energy to fight on.
Thank you very much.
When you fight on, we'll give you the platform again to see where it is that we reached. But those of you following me on Twitter, it's at Nana Ansakwao. At Nana Ansakwao. That's on Twitter. I want to say thank you very much to Jollyphonics for the help in the Dumasa. Thank you very much to Spelling Bee for helping the kids to spell so well, and now being proud representatives of the Eastern Region Spelling Bee competition. But Tanti's Fashion is the one who makes my shirts, and they are on 024-366-2001. 024-366-2001. And thanks to Edmondson Presby Primary for making me proud. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. Brother, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.